offline. Don't you like that, to hear about somebody physically going offline? And every time I've asked anybody what happened to me during about 2 hours when I couldn't think, see, feel, hear much of anything. And they said, no, I didn't have a stroke. And they said, no, I didn't even have a TIA or a migraine. And what they're saying now I had was, and sometimes I can't even remember the name, but what they say I had was stress-induced amnesia.
It was so funny when she goes, what was that thing I had?
Just everybody
is psychogenic amnesia, and many people facing PTSI, post-traumatic stress injury, have it.
Well, it's very weird. All I know, I was in a white place, and when in that white place, I knew God was. And when the only person that's in the place with you is God, it makes you feel powerful and it makes you feel helpless at the same time.
Yeah.
You're so used to using your brain to figure out anything, and all I could do is just relax and rest and be there in that space. And I thought afterwards, what brought me through that? What brought me through that is my spirit guide, my guardian angel, talked me into a different reality and brought me through. And I had to say thank you, Universal Church of the Master, that is our parent church. Having been a medium all my life, I hadn't realized there are other people who do this same type of thing and appreciate what the gift is until I found a church that has spiritualist tendencies and allows people to be who they are, whether it's through spiritual healing, whether it's through mediumship, whether it's through shamanism. We believe that each one of us has that ability to communicate with the Creator in many, many different ways. And I'm sure when you walked in this morning and you felt there's joy in this place. There's not a solemnness, oh, we're just sitting around here waiting for a notice from Spirit of what we're supposed to do. We're alive and we're being and we're doing. Because here at CCL, we accept all truths. And we truly talk about the validity of all the other faiths, cultures, religions. And we get that a lot from the writings of B.J. Fitzgerald. Because one of the things that one of the people who writes our text at UCM says that spirituality gives human life its essential meaning and dignity. Metaphysical philosophy is a great strengthener and counselor. That's who we are. What?
Did you see that flicker? There's nobody over there to turn that light on. Somebody was...
They're excited about me being here. Yeah.
Can you say that again, Dottie?
Okay. Spiritual values give human life its essential meaning and dignity. Metaphysical philosophy is a great strengthener and consoler, or counselor. It could be either counselor or consoler. And that's what you're all here. You're all spiritual beings. You happen to be in a human body when you walked in, but obviously some didn't. They didn't have a human body when they walked in. But that acceptance of there's other things out there that quite often everyone doesn't see, hear, feel. Now, how many of you in this room today do some type of mediumship? Raise your hand. Yeah. I mean, and how many of you do some type of healing, spiritual healing? And isn't it nice to know that it's perfectly okay and you're not going to get stoned? Or you could get stoned. But
Sometimes that helps.
Oh, I was thinking of Salem personally, but quick little aside, some of you don't know, but Cotton Mather was the minister that was in charge of at Salem of getting rid of the witches. And he's one of my ancestors, so I think that's he could be. But we teach about divine source, or whether you want to call it the divine source, Mother, Father, God, the infinite, whatever. That's the word that you choose to refer to that spiritual consciousness is the word that's best for you. And sometimes I hear people say, well, you have to say this particular word. No, I don't. You know, so I can call my divine source the word that best works with me. So here we have our parent church, Universal Church and Master. It's always talking about the truth, and all faiths have a strength. And when you walk in, your first reaction is, yes, but mine's better. Have you ever done that? Well, I hear about people talking about Buddha or Muhammad or Zoroaster, but I know mine is best. And you find that they're all wonderful. And once you do, you start looking to the eyes of people with that joy of, there you are, brother, sister. Think of this, as our Divine Mother Father is the parent of all of us, then we all have the same DNA. We're all brothers and sisters. And when you see that in each other, that we are all brothers and sisters, it gives us a wonderful feeling of the correctness of the world. And right here, today, in this room, we have people who are Buddhists, Christians, Druids, Catholics, Mormons, Jews. We also have people who follow earth-based religions. We also have people who are atheists and quite a few agnostics, all in one room. And yes, it's wonderful to have them all here, because every religion that has ever been, every religion, has believed in spirit manifestations. And when you think about what the religions talk about, yeah, and all their Bibles, whether it's in the Bible or whether it's in the Quran or whether it's in the Talmud or the Torah, they all talk about some type of spiritual manifestation. And I don't care what you call those, whether you call them ghosts or spirits, or whether you call them ancestral spirits, that some people do, ghosts, or magic. It's that energy you can connect with that is God coming down and working through you and with you. In the beginning of recorded history, and our wonderful Dr. Eileen is really good at this, people believed in many different gods and goddesses. And it was so easy to know that Mother Earth is a goddess energy, and Father Sky. And you've got all of these beautiful essences, these God energies around. And somehow, when we stopped thinking of the gods and goddesses around us and we just became imbued with one God energy, we lost a lot of the energy of being connected with the earth. And we became disassociated. And then we started losing the energy of being connected with each other. Because you don't believe the way I do, I'm not going to connect with you. We see that a lot right now in the world. The lack of believing the same way tears people apart, instead of saying, wow, you like blue and I like green, and we can become a rainbow. Instead, we have this division. And so when you start looking at that, nobody has displeased God. God is a parent. And it's like, your mother might get upset with you. She might say, don't you dare do that again, but you know there's that love. And that's the same way with the energy with Mother, Father, God. During the Middle Ages, we had a lot of difficulty going on, because we had so many traditions in so many ways. It looked like we got more and more laws, more and more traditions, more and more ways we had to do things. And so what happened is everybody had to do it a certain way. And what about the person who didn't or couldn't do it that way? Then they became ostracized. And we see that even today. When we see people ostracizing somebody because they're differently abled, or of a gender they're not comfortable with, or there's so many different reasons. Those laws that were set up centuries ago still have a residual in what's going on. But here at CCL, we believe upon physical naturalness, that we're all natural. Whatever we look like, whatever we act like, whoever we are. And we're all manifestations of everything that's great, that internal natural law that governs us all. So we believe that unfoldment of our soul, that it doesn't unfold in just one lifetime. That we come back. That's one of the great things about Universal Church of the Master, is that belief that we have been here before and we will be here again. Some of you remember past lives. Some of you foretell future lives. Those are both beautiful beads on a wonderful string that is you. And so as we manifest that, we realize we are all souls. We're just clothed in different bodies, clothed in different types of material, as it were. Just because I wear a skirt doesn't mean you all have to wear skirts, particularly Ronnie, but he looks really good in one. He's got a kilt. He's got a kilt he wears. He's got killer knees. You know? He's gonna be sorry he's sitting right there this morning. But that, and you know, that's just the material that covers our physical being. But the greatest part of us is our spiritual being. If spirit could not return, how would we grow? Think about that. It's that return of spirit. It's that coming back. If you go to the Bible and you read about what happened with the different prophecies of people being able to see other people, feeling other people's energy. And when you start looking through all of them, we are not living in a false time. We're living in a time of confusion. It's like, if I don't understand where Ronnie was last night, how do I know who he is? Right? Have you heard that? Well, I don't really know you. But if I know Ronnie is one of the most beautiful children of God, what else do I need to know about him?
Right.
I don't need to know about his religion. I don't need to know what he's doing. I don't have to be jealous of him or judge him. I accept him as this shining embodiment of God here on earth. And maybe Ronnie and I knew each other before in another path, another life. I kind of get that sometimes with him, because he lets me pick on him. All these wonderful mediums are proving over and over that we keep returning and we keep coming back. And one of the things here at CCL, we believe in the golden rule as practiced by all. And each one of you in your program has a list of what the golden rule is in different religions, whether it be Buddhism, Christianity, paganism, Confucianism, Hinduism, Islam, Jainism, Judaism, Sikhism, Taoism, Zoroastrianism. And you read it. And how many of you see a great difference in between them all? They're all saying exactly the same thing, and please don't shut off the lights on me. I'm having a difficult enough time here. It's still flickering. Okay. I was wondering what that was. I was thinking it was my eyes, so thank you so much. Thank you.
And on the energy there with our wand.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So as you look at these, and did everybody get a copy?
Nope.
It's in your program?
I don't put a program.
Didn't get a program.
I need a program.
I'll get it.
Okay, thank you. Programs are on, right when you walk in, so you can grab one.
Okay, here's your
Okay.
You never know what's in them.
I love this, do not to others which if done to thee would cause thee pain. And there are so many of these. What is hateful to yourself, don't do to your fellow man. Isn't that great? What is hateful to yourself? Yeah, yesterday I had a client who came to see me whose father is Sikh and his mother is Hindu. And he has fallen in love with what he calls a white woman. And can't tell his parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've been seeing each other for 2 years. So for him, it is so difficult because he's living a lie. But he would rather live the lie than be ostracized from his family. And I said, why don't you bring your parents in and let's talk? Oh, they won't talk about it. I said, okay, then I'll go see them. This big fat white lady comes to see my parents. I think that's a good idea. And he said, do you think it's that easy? And I said, yes, because your mother loves you very much. And he started to cry. He was only 6'6" or something. Big guy, just sitting there crying. And he said, why is it I don't think she does? And I said, what do you think God thinks about you? looks at me and he said, my God loves me. I said, yeah, your mom's God loves you too. And when I never thought about that, I can take it to a higher court. Isn't that great? I'll just take this to God. I said, okay, well, call me if you need any help. He said, I will. And so I'm waiting for that call, and I'm sure it's going to be positive, because he left here with that feeling of, yeah, I can do that. So when we look at the Center for Creative Living, we're part of the Universal Church of the Master, in case you wonder where a lot of this comes from. And we have some wonderful books. The B.J. Fitzgerald book is fantastic. And we have a basic philosophy here at CCL. We believe in the Creator, under whatever name they call the divine. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals, and we make our own happiness, as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. How many of you know that we make our own happiness? How many of you blame other people? Well, he hadn't done that, or she hadn't done that. Isn't that easier than taking responsibility? So when we talk about in CCL, when people say, oh, I'm not happy, and I say, why not? They look at me like I'm crazy. You don't know? Don't you know what they did? And I said, no, I really don't care, because it's how you handle it. It's not what they did to you, it's how you handle it. You can make yourself happy. I get more problems from people on that than anything else. Well, if they hadn't done this, I'd be happy. If my mother had made me go to college, I'd be happy today. Your mother wanted you to go to college and you refused. Well, she should have made me. I haven't spoken to her for the last 12 years. And you just kind of, what do? You kind of take a deep breath and go, I get it. Isn't that easier than saying, I made a choice not to go to college, and I'm really excited about it, or I think I'll take some classes. But you can't keep blaming people, and that's one of the essence of CCL. We also believe that joyful expressions of love, happiness, kindness, forgiveness, and peace should be part of everyday life. You wake up every morning and say, good morning, world. Yay, it's raining.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Thank you, we need the rain. Good morning, world. There's going to be peace today. I'm going to work on it. That's like the peace meditations we talked about. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes proven through mediumship. So in this church, we affirm the prophecy of healing, because we see it work all the time. I know, for those of you who do Reiki, for those of you who do any type of hands-on healing, for those of you who do distance healing, it's incredible what you're doing. Don't ever say, it's not working, I haven't heard from them. The reason you haven't heard from them is because they're so happy and joyous and healed, or dead, one or the other. And my spirit guide says it really doesn't make any difference.
No.
It really doesn't make any difference, either way. It's that sad, miserable, depressed that makes a big difference. But the joyfulness is great. Or when I went into that white room, a couple of weeks ago now, and I was just there, and my brain wasn't working, I realized that I had always thought that the brain was the center of my being. And it's my spirit. And that is a very difficult thing to think of. I mean, how many of you have always thought that if your brain was a little bit better, your life would be a little bit better? Anybody think that? Yeah. But what if I said, yeah, if your spirit was a little bit better? And it's not, your spirit is great. It's your appreciation of your spirit is what you need to look at. So here at UCM and CCL, we encourage all humankind to learn and practice living in accordance with God's laws. The infinite spirit within us shows us the way to shine. You don't have to have laws printed down. You don't have to have the rules of how to live in the world. You have them within you. But sometimes we get so, I want to say, corrupted by having to do the right thing, stop, don't stop, go 60 miles an hour, whatever it is, that we stop thinking, I can't go 60 miles an hour, the guy in front of me just stopped. Just because they say I can doesn't mean I need to. And so there's a lot of laws like that that you don't want to do. You want to listen to your own spirit. And that's part of this. And that's called channeling. Think of that. How you live your life every day is listening to spirit. And that's when you hear the word channeling. You know, here somebody's just sitting here quietly staring into space. We'll say, shh, they're channeling, you know. Or they, in Dorothy's case, they could be asleep. We're not too sure. But oh, she's not even here for that, darn. But just think of that. We sometimes forget that getting in touch with spirit through channeling is how we know what we're supposed to do and what our next step is. That's our inner compass. God as spirit is our inner compass. All of these mediums that I talk about are very sensitive to vibrations, and they're able to convey messages, whether it's through prophecy, clairvoyance, a clairaudience, gift of tongues, laying on of hands. There's so many other words for this. Some people through writing or painting or photography. Have you ever gotten a gift by looking at a painting and going, oh, it hits your spirit? Or by hearing the music with Janet in the morning, it just raises your spirit. So think of this. So when you think, the way I control my life is through my thoughts. Stop and say, no. The way I control my life is through my spirit. And so as I was doing all of this, and I was thinking about the spiritual healers that we have here, who are able to transmit creative energies to us. Our spirit has to allow them to come in. I'm looking at Sean while I say that. Because if I spiritually put up a block, and he's a healer, it's going to take a lot to get through to help heal me. But if my spirit rises up and says, I am ready to be healed, and works with Sean in conjunction, that's when the healing begins. And I, you know, Becca's nodding her head, and we have all these people who are such gifted healers. Yes, that's that coming together. That's that spirituality, that spiritual healing that I talk about. Because healers are aware that what is it in your body that you have to remove? Let's try stress. Okay. Well, and that's one of the greatest gifts that Sean works with, is releasing stress. And once you release the stress in the body can heal. That spiritual essence of who you are knows how to heal. And it's not about medicine or pills. And well, it could be if it's a broken leg of the physician setting it. But most of the time it's you talking to yourself about the ability to heal. And that's one of the greatest gifts that spiritual healers give you. So, I'm talking about all of what we are at CCL. And when I talk about healers, I want each healer in here who's an ordained minister that know this is a religious freedom granted by the Bill of Rights. Okay, to be a healer. So if somebody says, oh, you can't do that, well, as long as you're coming from your spirit and coming from that energy, you are, as a minister, you have the right to help people heal. And I want to read a healing affirmation. Power of God now flows through my aura, through every aspect of consciousness, every organ and cell of my being. The perfect harmony, well-being, and unlimited vitality of God now moves through me, strengthening me for this day and blessing all that I do. I give thanks for the health and strength that are mine, for the opportunities of services that lie before me. I rise for this day in the power of God with unlimited health, and so be it.
So be it.
And that is straight out of B.J. Fitzgerald, Minister's Guide. So when you think of that, and that's one of these affirmations that works so well.
That's a what page that's on.
Nobody can find it for you. Okay. At times during the day, especially if there's stress, and especially if you're going through tension and you're going to fall apart in just 2 minutes. Have you ever done that? One more person walks through that door, I'm going to lose it. They're going to find Dottie bits all over the place. Up here, and I think, well, then I have to go into my consciousness and about the truth of who I truly am. I am a child of God. I am a healer. I am somebody who can work with people and help them find their way. I can't allow negative thoughts to take hold and play a part of me in any way. And when I feel like I'm sliding into that negative, I have to start linking myself up with that spiritual part of me. Take my brain, say brain, it's concerned. You're getting out there in ego so far that it's going to be hard to get you back if you don't work on it. So just think about that. If you're having a personal struggle with negative mental states, reinforce your higher self. Spiritual thought harmonizes excellently with the body, and you'll reinforce a spiritual program for the mind through affirmations of healing. Okay, God is love, and God is healing me now. So that's one of the reasons I decided we were going to have healing chairs here at CCL 2 or 3 times a month. And we have a nice little section that's set up here that Gloria did. And after church, if you want to do some healing or if you want to be healed, you can just go up there and just have a quiet corner and calm down. We're going to pass around a list, or we'll have a list set aside for people who want to be healers. So you don't have to be here every Sunday that we do healing, but you can have a couple Sundays that you will come and do healing. The more healings you do, the better you become. Why do you think that is? You get out of your own way. No, you get out of your own way. The first time you go, am I doing this right? Are my hands here? Is this what I'm supposed to do? Do I put my hand on their forehead? Do I put my hand on their shoulder? I better not touch their butt. I was told I couldn't do that. You know, you do all this. And so where are you while you're doing your healing? You're still in your brain. You're not in your healing energy. So, but yes. So, and the more you do healing, pretty soon the minute you put down, you ground, you clear. You start balancing yourself so you can heal. Yes,
When you
Courtney?
blow, that's,
Yes, exactly. We used to, when we did healing sessions, we had a little angel that was sitting there that said, "Thou shalt blow, not suck," meaning, whatever you think that means, what it really means is you're going to put your energy into somebody, not suck in their negative energy. So, thank you, Corky, for that. So you're going to just blow out spiritual energy. And it meets their spirituality. And that is what and where healing begins. Now, since each one of us is gifted with the ability to learn, teach, heal, and communicate with spirit, we are always open to learning new things. And so I'm going to do something that I've probably only done 20 times before, but she doesn't know it. I'm going to ask Dr. Eileen if you can add anything to how people could learn how to channel spirit and help heal. Can you think of a few things?
Sure.
Yeah, yay!
That'd be so fun. It's like, yeah, gee, what can I do today? Oh, I don't think I'll tell her. Just go ahead and let her go. So as we talk about the idea of bringing in that energy, connecting with it, often we do this on an unconscious level. You may be going along and suddenly you'll think about somebody and go, oh my gosh, I really need to call them. And then you call them, it's like, oh man, I'm really glad you called. Mm-hmm. That happens to each and every one of us. There's nobody here who that hasn't happened to at least once, where you suddenly get a strong feeling for something or for someone. Maybe you come into the church and there's somebody sitting there and you just feel like you need to go and sit next to them. You feel like, it's like, you know what? And then they look at you and their eyes begin to well up. Yeah. And it's like something called you. So that connection is automatic. It's our birthright. It's in our DNA. Taking it to that place of making it that conscious thing that you can go, it's like, okay, let me just kind of call on this. Let me see if I can turn this into a tool in my toolkit. And by allowing yourself first to realize the very, very, very first thing is that it is real. Because we get caught up in, well, maybe it's not real, or maybe, I'm not feeling my chakra shift. It may have been that taco I ate. It's indigestion. It's not spirit. Except that, it's my imagination. Because a lot of us grew up hearing that, no, you don't hear spirits, you don't see spirits, it's your imagination. You have imaginary friends. Mm-hmm. But it was always placed in that, it's like, oh yeah, you'll outgrow that. And we were kind of made to outgrow it. To go back to that child place where you had imaginary friends, because those friends were real. accept that when you receive a message and it's like, you know what? I need to say something. And it may be, it's like, and I'm sure Dottie's experienced it where it's like, okay, tell them this. No, I don't wanna. They're not gonna take it well. Sorry, your job. Go tell them that. And it's like, okay, I really feel called to share this with you. And what I always do is I ask permission. It's like, is it okay with you if I share something that I really feel that, I'm really being called to tell you, but I will not do it without their permission. And permission is a big part of that. It's a part of the humility. What we have is a gift, and an unbelievably special one. That holds light and shadow, as everything does. It's how we bring it about. As long as we stay in that humble heart, as long as we know that we are a conduit for that energy and that beauty and that blessing. It doesn't come from us. I get up every morning and say, Creator, may I be a good tube for you today. Because that's what I am. I'm a good tube. I sometimes I'm a better tube than others. But, hey, that's what I am. I'm a vessel. And when you realize that you're this wonderful vessel, it's amazing that just that thought, I am a vessel. Then suddenly Spirit goes, all right, now that you know that, let's fill you up with something. Meditation is a wonderful way, and there's lots of different types of meditation, whatever resonates with you, whether it's, sitting quietly, dancing, laughing, whatever. When you are able to bring yourself into that place of stillness. For me, the best way to meditate is by using a stone, because what I do is I match the stillness of the stone, which creates a clean slate, and then anything and everything can come in. Don't question. Just accept. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to, and it doesn't have to have an immediate result. Maybe you work with somebody in exactly the way it's like, okay, I've opened myself up to Spirit, and the energy has come through, and the person goes, oh my God, I feel so much worse. Don't get attached to that. Because it may be they need to feel worse before they feel better.
That's right.
If in your heart you know what? I was just present. I was there. They got what Creator wanted them to get. And you can explain. Sometimes when you're breaking something loose, there's discomfort. I mean, anybody who's ever given birth, there's a slight amount of discomfort involved in that, generally. And that discomfort leads to something amazing. And let them know, use analogies, like, when you're giving birth. Use analogies like, when you're opening a present. You can't open up the present without that wrapping coming off.
Dark before the dawn.
It's the dark before the dawn. It is that winter before spring. Sometimes it does hurt. Sometimes because they've been denying a pain. And sooner or later, that pain's got to come up. It's got to see the light of day. And you may be the one to hold witness for that and to hold that space while they do that. And maybe they get mad at you. I'm sure Dottie has had more than one person say, it's like, oh, blame you for the message, that shoot the messenger thing. But understand that doesn't take away from the message. It doesn't take away from the power, because maybe they're mad at you and they wander off, and then, a month later you get a call saying, you know what, you were right. And I went home and I thought about it. And when I really faced it, because getting people to face stuff, the hardest part is for them to realize that once they face it, it has no power. It does not have as much power over them as they think that it has. It does not have that unknown. If we walk around with our eyes covered and it's like, I don't want to see, it's always worse than what we actually see. It's always worse than what's there. So in looking at, where you are, what do you want from yourself, and realizing that each and every one of you are so much greater than you could even possibly imagine. Tap into that and don't be scared. There's no way you can do it wrong.
Thank you so much. That wasn't an advertisement for her classes. Because
Really?
in talking about our Universal Church of the Master, well, Eileen is sponsoring ministers. So, and she just is starting, so if you're interested in going into the ministry, talk to her after that's one of the reasons I want to talk about this, because we are starting, 2016, we are starting up new classes for ministers. And so people come here and they go, oh, this is fun, I enjoy this. We never know what's going to happen. We've got a choir that sings every once in a while. We got people that do all these things. What's it all about?